Hi, I'm Trevor Lewis, author of Thriving as an Empath, Empowering Your Highly Sensitive Self. I've been an empath all my life, and since 2013, I've been on a mission to help other empaths learn more easily the lessons I had to learn the hard way. This talk is about reframing what we think of as individuality, both in respect to the people around us, and secondly, regarding, quotes, invisible companions, unquote. It may not convince you of anything, but I hope it will give you some food for thought. I'll start off talking about our individuality with respect to the people around us. Growing up as a boy in London, England, I don't know that I ever really questioned my individuality. I grew up thinking, I'm me, they are them. Of course I'm a separate and distinct individual. I'm in my body, they are in theirs. Where my body stops, I stop. Where their body starts, they start. It's an atomistic worldview that likens people to billiard balls bumping into each other. As I grew older, experiences of telepathic coincidences put a dent in that perspective. If a friend called me just as I was thinking about them, did I think about them because they were calling me, or did they call me because I was thinking about them? It blurred some of my personal boundaries. I started realizing just how much I'd picked up energy from other people in my 30s. But it was 25 years later that I really understood that I am an empath and that I'm processing other people's energy and their emotions pretty much 24/7 to some degree or another. As an empath, the idea that where my body stops, I stop is no longer valid. My emotional body exists around the planet. I've had experience connecting with clients all around the world. I exist in the emotional body of other people, and they exist in my emotional body. This is a much more holistic worldview. It's the first way in which I can say that our mainstream idea of individuality is vastly overrated. For the second half of this talk, I'll share that I refer to my, quote, invisible team, unquote, on pretty much a daily basis. I also like to say that I have some of the best teachers not on the planet. And yet that phraseology allows me to be vague about who or what I am referring to. Let me share a few years back, I was talking with a friend about a question I had in my mind about where does my higher self start and end? What's the relationship between my higher self and my guides and guardian angels? What about other people's angels, archangels, the personal divine, a universal God? My friend replied quite simply, I call them all upper management. Let them sort out the job titles. I'll reference the author Dolores Cannon in another talk, but it's worth saying here that many people associate at least part of upper management with off-planet intelligences. I would argue that these intelligences are no more aliens or extraterrestrials than many of us humans, but more about this at another time. Over recent years, I've been able to develop a relationship with my invisible team, the disembodied beings that many people would call guides. Many of us have a sense looking back in time of our lives falling into accord with some guided plan. And yet most of us still act as if that guided plan won't continue into the future unless we fret and worry about our decision-making process. I've reached a place where, at least some days more than others, I feel like the front man being pushed and prodded by my invisible team like an actor on stage. My job is to keep showing up and stay in the role for which I am being directed. And so if my life is being guided so very firmly but gently by my invisible team, what does my personal individuality mean in relationship to my invisible team, in relationship to upper management? Again, I can say that our mainstream idea of individuality is vastly overrated. I don't expect this talk to change anybody's mind. I only ask for your willingness to play with the ideas I present here and see what may or may not sound like possibilities for your own life. Thank you for listening to this talk. Thank you for helping yourself learn to become a thriving empath. For more information, please go to www.thrivingempath.com.